Like you to, and I want to tell you about a huge event that's taking place this weekend, the annual Jalsa event. Over 30,000 people are expected to go to what is the largest Muslim gathering in the UK, and it's taking place on a farm where many will also be camping. And this is to celebrate and to learn more about the Ahmadiyya community. And I would like you to get in touch and let me know if you're going and what it's like, and if you have any thoughts that you'd like to share about the event. Just to remind you of the way you can get in touch. You can tweet us at BBC Asia Network. You can also text us on 81869. But to talk a little bit more about it, I've got with me Communications Director for the event, Farooq Aftab, his daughter Fatia Aftab, and Imam Dibba, a young Imam from Gambia who's based in the US but has flown over for the event, I believe. It's good to have you all with us. If I can come to you first, Farooq, for those who might not know what the Jalsa event is, what is it? And it's been going for a long time as well, hasn't it?
Yes, the Jalsa is it's an annual gathering, and it's a unique event. It's a unique gathering. It's a spiritual gathering which was started by who we believe to be the promised Messiah, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, as foretold by the Prophet of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And it started in 1891, small town in India called Qadian. And at that time, we had about 75 people. Today in the UK, we're holding our 52nd Jalsa, and more than 30,000 people are attending. Last year we had about 38,000. It's a 200-acre site, huge site. Easiest way to describe it is a bit like Glastonbury, but a religious event.
And probably a bit tidier as well.
Well, a lot tidier. We've got 5,000 volunteers. We're doing all the cooking, the security, the logistics. So it's quite a big feat.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to it?
We always.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit, Imam Dibba, why it's such a significant event. As I mentioned, you've flown in for it, and you've attended before anyway.
Yeah, I've attended before. I've actually lived in the UK before I went to the States. I've been in the States for a little over a year. Something that, we look forward to the whole year, pretty much. And what makes it unique here is because the supreme head of the worldwide Ahmadiyya Muslim community, His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad, he resides in London. So wherever the Khalifa resides, that automatically becomes the international convention. But this is not only held in the UK, it's held in pretty much all the countries that we established in, over 200 countries across the world. And it's an annual event. But everyone looks forward to UK's because that's where our leader resides in.
And is it open to people that aren't from the Ahmadiyya community at all?
It is. I mean, it's predominantly aimed at the community, but we get, over 100 countries represented, people, politicians, journalists, normal people, other Muslims. They attend the event, see what it's about. And, it's really, for us, it's about showcasing the true message of Islam. So people like to see that. There are various exhibitions, other activities that go on. So people from all walks of life attend.
So it's almost a good opportunity for people that may not know much about the faith, the community, the Ahmadiyya community in particular, to come to.
Absolutely. I mean, for them to learn more, and generally, just about what Islam is. There's so much going on in the media, so it's it's a really good opportunity for them to come and learn about Islam.
And just to add into that, so it's not just about getting together and listening to speeches, and to give people the opportunity to interact as well, because there's so much negativity going around. So living together with people in a place that's pretty much a farm, there's not much else to do than to interact with other people.
You have to talk to people.
And the reception of the cell phones is so bad anyway, so it helps us, it forces us to get to know people. It is really, intimate.
Place without cell phones.
Yeah, I mean, it's
bad connection.
Bad connection.
It's interesting what you're saying about the negativity around Islam. There is also the negativity or the discrimination that we know the Ahmadiyya community face, and I'd like to get into that in a moment. But I just want to come to you, Fatia, because you're 14, but you've been before, haven't you? So is this which one? Is this how many have you been to?
I've been to as many as I can remember since I've been born, I guess.
And tell us a little bit about what they're like, and what's you're very young. What is there for you to do there? What do you enjoy about it?
I think there's lots to do because you hear speeches, there's exhibitions, there's guide tours you can help out with. And from when you're a young age, you get trained to do loads of duties. So you can do water duty when you're younger because Jalsa is about spiritually like a training camp. So it's like where you kind of learn more about your religion and practice it. Because the whole point of Islam is you serve mankind, and that's what we're here to do. So we learn to we serve water. We can clean the toilets. There's small duties we can do. So I do that, and just spend time with family and listen to speeches. So.
And do you make connections with new people? And yeah,
that's one of the great things, because you get to see people from all around the world. So you make new friends from all around the world. And you interact with them. You can talk to people who are non-Muslims. You can tell them more about your religion, and you preach to them, and you explain to them what it's about. So I think it's good.
Do you feel, Farooq, that it's changed? I mean, it must have changed over the years. I mean, are you seeing that there's more people attending, or certain types of people who are attending more? What sort of change?
I think, just picking on from Fatih's point, one of the other objectives of the convention or the Jalsa is that the Promised Messiah said that, look, to increase your brotherhood. So if with other people from all around the world, you increase that camaraderie as well. So it's great in that sense. And then what's really changed for us in the UK is that since the arrival of the Caliph, the fourth Caliph in 84, it's really taken a turn. So the Jalsa has really gone to an extent where it's an international, global event now. And for us, the organisers who are involved in it, we're all volunteers. There are around about 5,000 volunteers, which includes 2,000 ladies. So it's quite a huge task for planning to make sure the guests are received properly. So it's really grown in that sense, and every year it's growing.
And I guess the interest in it from people who may want to attend and visit, so forth, has changed.
It has, definitely. I mean, like we mentioned before, because there's a lot in the media about Islam, radicalisation, extremism. So there's a lot of interest just from the general public as well to attend. And we have side events, exhibitions. We've got the Al-Quran exhibition, Al-Qalam, which talk about the Holy Quran, its preservation. We've got the speech contest this year, responding to Geert Wilders. We're doing a new campaign called Pathway to Peace, which actually is the solution, as we see it from the Islamic perspective, to the global problems of the world at the moment, which are alluded by the Caliph, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad. So there's a lot going on. And then there's a charitable side as well, where we showcase our charity, Humanity First. So it is quite, there's a lot, varied amount of things for different people.
Moving forward, are there things that you would like to see change about the festival? Are there plans that you have to maybe make it more multicultural, or give me an example of?
I think we'd always want to say it because remember it's run by volunteers.
Yeah.
And if this was run by others, it'll cost a lot of money as well. So we, as volunteers, we always try to improve upon things. To look after 38,000 people, we have 28 days to create like a mini tent city, and then hold the event and to take everything down as well. So
huge operation.
Yeah, it's a huge operation, and very little police presence as well.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, in terms of security, what is the level of security that you need?
There are various levels of securities, and at events like this, you always need to have security and make sure everything is fine. And you talked about Glastonbury; it has a huge presence of police, etc. But if you came to this event, you see very little police presence. Well,
I should say, I can imagine the people that come to Jalsa aren't as rowdy as the Glastonbury people.
Actually, when you talk to them, they share that too. I've spoken to a couple of policemen, and they just say straight up, like, we don't know, there's no point of coming here because we've never seen any crime. We just, they're interacting with people, they're eating the traditional dal.
You're chilled out.
Yeah, they are. And but of course we have to do that. And talking about attendance as well and diversity, even though it's based on volunteers helping out, we encourage our regular members to come with their friends, their colleagues, and whoever you can bring to Jalsa, just to show them the practical side of what Muslims are about. Yeah. And that does help. We get increased number of attendees.
I mean, it's a multicultural. You see like Africans there, Indonesians, Arabs. It's a whole spectrum of life that you will see there.
On the issue of the negativity that you're talking about, I feel with the Ahmadiyya community, you have there are quite a few layers here of negativity. So you have the general Islamophobia that all Muslims are facing right now, and then the specific prejudice and discrimination that you face as a community. This is a pretty broad question. Do you think it's getting better in terms of how you are viewed by the Muslim community in general? Or do you think there's still a long way to go?
I think there is, there's still work to be done. It's always, things can get better, but it's not like in countries like Pakistan, where we are persecuted by law. Here we have freedom of religion in the UK. But although there are from time to time incidents, but we keep working to make sure, look, everyone should have the right to profess their religion freely, and that's what Islam teaches. Whether you agree with it or not is a different thing, but we can all live with each other respectfully and in a peaceful manner.
And I suppose at the festival you have other Muslims attending as well.
Yes, there are other Muslims from all, not just from the UK, but from other parts of the world as well, that attend the event.
I'd be curious to know, Imam Dibba, what it's like in the US, just in terms of, first of all, do people have an awareness of the Ahmadiyya community and what kind of prejudice you face?
It's a daily effort that we make based on, regular people just talking to their friends, to, imams like myself, to other office bearers in the community. It's a daily effort that we make to just educate people, because a lot of the Islamophobia or the persecution that we face is based on illiteracy. People do not have the true essence of what we believe in, and we believe that by educating them, it will take that away, because love always wins against hate. And what gives us hope is what the Holy Prophet, the founder of Islam, peace be upon him, faced himself, 13 years of persecution. But then he only responded with love, love and love, until he migrated to Medina. When they, pushed on with effort, that's when he had to defend himself. So that's what we practically do. And our response throughout our history, 125 years, has always been responding with love and praying. And all our Khalifas have always given us that advice.
And that takes huge strength, though, isn't it? Essentially, to try and love those that are persecuting.
But the difference there is it's not just shallow theories. We have a practical leader throughout the world who tells us what to do. When he says, be patient, we are all patient. You will not hear of any crime by a group of Ahmadis anywhere, protesting or fighting back. We do not have any history of it. No record of terrorism anywhere in the world, ever. So that system of leadership is what makes us unique. We don't just go individually and take the law in our hands.
Let me bring Fatia back into this, because you're only 14, and I'm really interested to know if you've ever faced any kind of prejudice, and who has it been from?
Unfortunately, being in a country with such religious freedoms, yeah, I have. In secondary school at the beginning, it was quite shocking as well, because I was just starting secondary school. I didn't know anyone, but I was mocked for being Ahmadi, and there were some negative comments and some things happened. And
is this from non-Muslims or Muslims of other sects?
Muslims
right.
Of other sects,
okay.
Yeah. Because it was quite a multi-school, and there weren't many Ahmadis there. I was one of the few, and I didn't really understand. Like I thought, because we, in the mosque and in Islam, we'll all learn about being one, and that we all respect each other. So I was kind of shocked as well. So, but I've been patient, because our leader tells us, the Caliph has told us to be patient, and slowly things have gotten better. And I've told them to respect one another, and things are getting better. So
in terms of how that gets better, is it about you having a conversation with these people that? And how does it happen? Do they insult you in a very kind of, obvious, terrible way? Or is it almost like they don't understand what it is and you are able to have a conversation?
I think that they have misconceptions of us, because they've been taught certain things about us, like stupid things, little silly things, and they mock us for like small things that, they make like stories up that the promised Messiah, that he died in stupid, silly ways, and that making accusations about us that we're like bad people, that we try to take over different countries, or like I've even been called someone as to be a spy for Jews. And it hasn't been abusive, like I've been hurt or anything. I was like, at the very beginning, I was pushed down the stairs, but that's the worst thing that's happened. Other things have just been like silly comments and insults, but they've gotten better, because now in RS we like talk about other sects, not as much, but we've talked about Ahmadiyya a bit, so they understand a bit better. So
and Dad, Farooq, I imagine that you always knew that might happen for your daughter, that she would face that kind of discrimination?
Yes, but I didn't expect it in London. We're more multicultural. So, I come from the north of England, so I faced it to a greater extent, even physically, but I wouldn't expect it here. But, like we said, we believe we are Muslims, no one can take that away from us. And for Muslims, they react according to the standards of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and that's what we follow. We be patient and pray, and that's what our Caliph has taught us, and that's what we impart to our children.
Yeah. Let me bring in, we've got someone who's called in who'd like to ask you a question, Imam. If you want to pop your headphones on. And this question is specifically about, again, the issue of persecution and how you deal with it. I've got Inti on. Morning, Inti.
Good morning.
What would you like to ask the Imam?
Yeah, Aftab, I'd like to ask you, basically, how do you actually feel about Saudi Arabia not accepting the MD community? I don't mean to be disrespectful, but, we say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. He is the last prophet. And how can you say Messiah is your last prophet? Because obviously Islam teaches us that Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was the last prophet. No disrespect, your community is not regarded as Muslims because of that. What do you feel about that, and what would you like to say about that?
Thank you for that question. We get that quite a lot.
Strong question, yeah, and I'm sure it's not something that's new to you.
No, it's not. We get that quite a lot. But again, it's lack of understanding of basic teachings of Islam. What he just said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, there's nothing in there that says about him being the last prophet. That actually means that there's none worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad is a messenger of God. So this is something you recite to become a Muslim. And the Prophet of Islam himself has said, whoever reads this, and it's called the kalima, has become a Muslim automatically. So that's the definition given by the Prophet. So if we say that, technically we are Muslims. So Saudi Arabia is not a model for anyone because of it being a country. The biggest enemies to Islam were from Mecca itself during the time of the Prophet. So to say that you are rejected by the majority or the powerful ones doesn't mean anything to us. We only go back to what the scripture says and what the Prophet practically told us who a Muslim is. And on many occasions, he says it very clearly. Whoever recites the kalima, that is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, and thanks to the questionnaire, he said it himself, and I'm saying that now. The Prophet says that person becomes a Muslim. Whoever slaughters, eats what we slaughter, becomes a Muslim. Whoever faces the Qibla when they're praying becomes a Muslim. In fact, in the first census of Islam ever, the Prophet said, whoever calls themselves a Muslim, write their name down as a Muslim. Uktubu li man talaffaza bil Islam minan nas. From among all the people, whoever calls himself Muslim, just write his name down or her name down. So these are the definitions that the Prophet gave. And we qualify based on all these definitions. So
can I just say that just before, something simple, before 1974, Ahmadis were classed as the mainstream part of Islam. There was no laws then. So this is nothing to do with religion. And, Saudi aren't custodians of Islam. The Holy Prophet clearly said that Arab is not better than a non-Arab, and non-Arab is not better than an Arab. Depends on your piety. And, we clearly believe in the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ as the final law-bearing prophet. The question is, other Muslims are still waiting for the Messiah. We believe he's come. That is the only difference.
It's an Inti isn't with us now, but whenever we've talked about Ahmadis on this programme, and just generally speaking, I'm always amazed by this kind of that sort of question. This almost like questioning your faith. And maybe I'm idealistic. I just referred to what you said, actually, that, why is there this fight? Because, I mean, maybe that's just a very idealistic question, but, the fact that there are people who have a problem with how you believe and how you live, it must be so frustrating for you.
It is, but look, you can't have different standards for different people. Muslims are saying, look, there's a lot of Islamophobia, etc. They expect to be treated with respect and equality. Then you should treat others with the same respect and equality. Whether you agree we're Muslims or not, that's a matter for God.
I guess this is it. And that you've hit the nail on the head. And we're told that no one can judge you but Allah, right? That's it. Ultimately what it comes down to. Yeah. But people judge.
Yeah. So, they need to answer that. It's a question for them.
And I always think, Fatia, this is older people. No disrespect to you both either. I think we're all the same age. But I always think this is a problem with the older generation, that they may be stuck in a certain way of thinking. As someone who's very young, do you think that's the case? Do you think the younger generation are maybe going to change the way things are?
I think, the young generation could change the way things are. Because, today the world's changing and everything. And I feel like everything we learn in our mosques, I mean, whatever that they've told me is apparently what they've learned at home and what they've learned from their parents. But if we can change what they think and take away and remove their misconceptions, then everything can be okay. So hopefully, let's...
Do you think it's getting better, though?
I believe it's getting better. And our inspiration, again, not based on the shallow theories, our Khalifa, practically he goes tirelessly across the whole world to educate people. And these are not just, you know, regular people, but also even politicians. He's written letters to leaders of the world, at that time Barack Obama, to the Pope, Benjamin Netanyahu, all the powerful nations of the world. He's spoken at the Capitol Hill, European Parliament, and so on and so forth, and even up to individuals. So he shows us that I'm doing this day in, day out, and that's what we are doing. So me, being in the field as well, interacting with people on a daily basis, I see that people genuinely just do not have the right information. When they get the right information...
And coming back to this festival, that's, I imagine, the main thing that you want to achieve by getting out that right information, which is why it's open to other people as well. It
is, that it's about education. You know, it's a purely religious event about educating people on religion, ourselves and others, and improving that, not just having the knowledge, but practicing in your daily life, day in, day out. So we actually want to practice what we preach. You know, and that is what we want to show, the true face of Islam. We're saying, come and have a discussion with us and learn the truth. You know, in terms of the people that attend, are you kind of wary, though, sometimes that you might get people who want to come that, for the want of a better word, could be troublemakers? I think you always get the small minority everywhere, but you've got to have, you know, be willing to engage and discuss with people. And, you know, you have to be open to that. Yeah. Just remind us when the event's taking place and where it is again. This is why we have you on to talk about it. This Friday, 3rd of August, till Sunday, and it's in Alton, Hampshire, 200-acre site. It's a farm where it'll be taking place, and it'll be shown live globally as well. Are you all camping? There is quite a lot of camping that goes on. I've camped in the past as well. Are you camping, Fatia?
No, I'm staying in a hotel.
I'm camping.
I think you're camping. Yeah, I think I would stay in a hotel, I have to say. Camping is probably one of those things that you have to do once in your life, I think, and then never do it again. I'm really grateful for all three of you for coming in and also answering that question very eloquently as well. That's Communications Director for the Jalsa event, as you heard there, which is taking place this weekend, Farooq Aftab, his daughter Fatia Aftab, and Imam Dibba, who is based in the US but has flown over for the event.